Good morning, class. My name is Aaron Mastro. I'm going to apologize right from the get-go. I have a little bit of a cold, so I might sound a little funny. But I'm going to be going over on how to make sure that your dress blues blouse for enlisted Marines is inspection ready. So we're going to start by taking a look at it. You're going to want to make sure that you have it pressed and cleaned, so taking it to dry cleaners, professional service. You definitely do not want to do it on your own. Another thing is to look over the entire uniform and where all the seams are, and look for any loose threads that might be sticking out. And you just get one of these little scissors and go around and just clip them off. If you don't have scissors, a lot of Marines just take a lighter and run it across, but I wouldn't recommend that in case you burn your uniform. Also look around the rank insignias. That's a good spot where you can find loose threads. You don't want it to hang out. We call them Irish pennants or IPs. So so you want to make sure that those are gone for a more professional look. Next thing you want to look at are the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor emblems on the collar. These are all removable. All the brass from the buttons to the collar emblems, they're removable, so that way when you take them to the cleaners, they don't get damaged in the process of getting cleaned. So once you put them back on, you want to make sure that they're vertically centered and that the anchors are pointed inboard. A lot of times you see new Marines walking around with the anchors pointing outboard, which is why you got to have uniform inspections to make sure that everything is properly worn within regulation and they don't look like, unprofessional. Also, you want to take a look at the buttons and kind of make sure that the Eagles are not upside down, because they can rotate if you have the special type of buttons where you clip them on in the back. So you want to make sure that they're all pointed upwards. Same on the sleeve. So the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that the uniform is properly marked. Now up here, you'll see a name tape with my last name and my first two initials. Every uniform must have the proper marking, so that way, everybody wears the same uniform. That way you know which one is yours, for one, and it's in the regulations, it must be done. Now when a Marine gets promoted, they're going to have to take their uniforms into alterations to get their new rank insignia sewn onto the uniform. Now for the enlisted Marines uniform, you want to make sure that when you get your uniform back, to ensure that they did it correctly, you're going to take a tape measure or a ruler and measure it down from the seam to the tip of the emblem and ensure that it is exactly 4 inches. If it is not, you need to take it back to alterations and have them fix it and not charge you for that. Same thing with the hash marks. For every, I believe it's 3 years, you get another hash mark, or 4 years, I'm sorry, and then you connect. You have to make sure that they touch the tubing and it's parallel to it. So everything looks good. I mean, I've worn this uniform quite a few times before retiring, so there's nothing out of order. One of the things that it's missing, obviously, are its medals and the ribbons. And we generally take those off when we're not wearing it and put them in something so they don't get tarnished or get lost or banged up or destroyed, because as you go throughout your career and earn new medals, it gets more expensive to create a medal rack. It's a lot easier to just go professionally and have them created by a business. They do mounting. This is one of my older sets. I'm not going to take out the newer ones because I've saved those for a special occasion. But these are the medals and these are the ribbons. So the medals are going to be going over the left breast pocket, and the ribbons will be going over the right breast pocket. So for the metals, you want to make sure that they are centered over the left breast pocket and that the top of the bar is directly between the first and second eyelet right here on the blouse. Now I'm not going to keep these on. I'm not going to button them in the back to keep them on, because I don't plan on keeping them on that long. Gotta be careful not to puncture your finger when you're pushing these through. And just like that. Now you have the metals correctly placed on the blouse. You want to ensure that the metals are also in the correct order. There is a specific order that metals must be in, and it goes by the seniority or the importance of the metal. So the most important metal over here would be my joint service commendation medal, and my least seniority one would be my NATO medal, and it's properly placed. The business knows what they're doing. That's what, you know, so you don't, but you always have to check it too to make sure that they didn't make any mistakes. Same goes with the ribbons. The precedence has to be left to right, and the most important, obviously, and it's going to be going over the right breast pocket. Now for the ribbons, we're not going to center it between the two buttons. It must be centered over the left right breast pocket and exactly 1/8 of an inch gap between the ribbons and the the pocket. Just like so. I'll bring it a little bit closer. I don't have a camera person here today, or ever for that matter. So now you have the proper placement of the metals, and you have the proper placement of the ribbons. The buttons and the emblems, rank insignia, no Irish pennants. This needs to be, obviously needs to be pressed and steam clean, because it just got here from North Carolina. I just moved into this place in Lodi, so. But once that is done, it is definitely inspection ready. It may not fit me anymore. Gained a little bit of weight since getting out, but if I was still in shape, it would be inspection ready. And this concludes my period of instruction.